right, it's another episode of After the Gig, and we are talking about the 2025 Grammy performances and also the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl performance. Very controversial performance, which featured a lot of digs at Drake and featured a appearance by Serena Williams, who is Drake's ex, crip walking on the Super Bowl gridiron on the field there during the performance. So there's a lot of very strong feelings about that performance. So we're going to talk about it. But first, we're going to go through these performances at the Grammys. What I'm going to do is, you won't know, but I'm going to watch them so I can react in real time. And I will talk about them. You won't even know. It'll be seamless. You'll hear a name, I'll talk about it, and that'll be that. The first one I watched was Dua Lipa. I can't say anything better about Dua Lipa. She's like incredible. I have a super crazy crush on Dua Lipa. I love her music, love her albums. There's really nothing more to say. It's classic pop. It's a classic pop record. If you like that kind of thing, go check out Dua Lipa. If you haven't checked out her first album, I actually don't even think I've listened to the second one yet, but it's on my list. I have a long list of stuff to listen to. Second is Anita, who just feels a little bit like another plug and play female pop star. Doesn't seem, I don't know what she'll do. You never know what these artists are going to do in their careers, whether they're going to have other hits or not. But I listened to the perform, or I watched the performance. I was like, is this just another Dua Lipa? So there wasn't too much substance for me during it. I'm sure it was very entertaining in the room, but I didn't love it. I kind of watched it and just skipped ahead and went on to the next one. So Billie Eilish? Is it Eilish or Eilish? We don't really know. Plus her brother Phineas, who acts as her producer on most of her records. I think all of her records. But Billie Eilish, I think, is going to go down as one of the most popular stars of our time. I think she'll be around forever. She did a Bond song. She has an unbelievable voice, and it's very, you think of these careers as what kind of longevity their careers are going to have. Billie Eilish, she has a lot of production in her performances and stuff, but her songs have so much substance to them. Her voice is incredible. There's a lot of feeling to it, and I just think that she lends it herself to someone that we're going to see around for a really, really long time. It's already been a while, but she's developed into this like really incredible classic voice that we're all accustomed to hearing. I put her in the category of Adele, of, people like that, just people that we will know forever. So that's Billie Eilish, and the performance was incredible. It's just so understated. There's violins and there's real instrumentation, and then Phineas is playing the piano. Her voice is beautiful. So I really, really love that performance. I always love performances like that when they break it down. They strip away all of the production and all the distractions and just get down to the song and the performance. And she's so good where she can carry people's attention with just a performance like that. Moving on, we have Lizzo. Lizzo faced a little bit of scrutiny in these past few years. I don't know the full story. I really don't care. I don't follow those things. I guess she was mean to her background dancers or something like that. Who knows the real story or how these things actually develop? It's another issue where people hear a story that was told by, someone 3 times or 4 times removed. They get one side and then they don't get the other side of the story. And then there's articles out there that are opinion pieces that get us all fired up. And it's the problem with everything. Nobody really knows what was actually said or was actually done. I'm not defending Lizzo. I'm not a huge fan of her music that much anymore. I liked the first album. It was fine. And I like her message of positivity for, body positivity, people that are bigger or whatever. But there was also a lot of stuff around it, like saying people trying to stick up for Lizzo by saying that she was healthy, which is just flat out untrue. I mean, the reality of the situation is like, yeah, you can be a big girl and beautiful and wonderful and all that, but don't try to tell me that it's healthy to be that large. As a big guy myself, I struggle with that all the time, and I'm not gonna lie and tell anybody that it's I'm healthy in any kind of way. Like, I take medication and I have Crohn's disease and I have high blood pressure and all stuff that is completely 100% directly influenced by my weight. And there's no illusions about that. And I don't think that young people shouldn't be impressioned that that is actually a healthy way and a way that they should want to live their life. I think you should want to be healthy, treat your body like a temple. I love the idea of it. I have a hard time executing it, but I ultimately will never ever listen to anyone that says that I'm actually healthy, and it's fine because I don't believe that. Anyway, moving on from Lizzo. That wasn't really about the music, but whatever. Benson, is it Boone? Benson Boone. That's the one I just listened to, and he starts off in the crowd, which I always like. I don't know. There's something about it. Those types of performances when the artist starts off in the crowd and they're around the people and you get these reactions from the stars that are sitting around them. But this dude, I didn't realize that the song that he sang, those beautiful things that I got, he is fucking awesome. He's so good. And the way that Nikki Glazer and someone else in the audience pulled off his tuxedo and he was wearing this like unbelievable outfit, and he did this huge crazy flip onto the stage and performed the song. His voice is incredible. He sounded great. I'm about, a little over halfway through the performance. I don't really need to hear anymore. I know that it's going to be awesome. But the dude's a star, man. He's pretty awesome. He's pretty cool. So I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of him and the band and the music and his voice and the whole theatrics and stuff. So I thought that was fun. So moving on. Am I even recording? Thank God. I thought I forgot to hit the record button. So I was like, oh God. I've been talking to myself for nothing. All right. I just watched the Sabrina Carpenter performance. I just was won over. I'm won over. I really like Sabrina Carpenter. She performed Espresso and Please Please at the Grammys, and it was okay. The thing I liked so much about this performance is you get all these performances at the Grammys that are ultra smooth and sexy and serious and all these things, and it's not real. None of it feels real. This performance was one of the first times in a while that you combined, an incredibly talented singer that sounds fantastic with fun and levity, and the whole intro where she's not in the spotlight and she keeps moving trying to find it, and it's believable that she's just like, oh, I don't know, where do I stand or whatever, and then she flips a thing and drops it. You think she's completely messed up, but it's just like, whatever. And then she walks down the stairs and it keeps going and she falls under the stairs and has to like go up. It's really funny. And I think a lot of the performances lose a lot of that fun. Like you've had whatever the band is with Anderson Paak or Pac and Bruno Mars. They're super fun, but in a different way. They're taking songs from an era and they are kind of recreating a newer version of that, but it's fun. They're wearing the 70s clothing. They're really in that realm. They're trying to recreate it like a modern version of it. And it's cool. It's fun. Whether you like the music or not, they're trying to have fun with it. This, she's wearing the same outfit that every single singer or female pop star wears now, which is the same thing Taylor Swift does, where it's like, the outfit and no leg, nothing covering the legs or anything. It's like what a leotard, is that what you call it? I don't know. Anyway, but everyone wears the same thing, but it's really interesting. Like I think about, it looks kind of like a performance like White Christmas, almost like a classic. People dressed up in tuxedos, light blue tuxedos. The color just feels very classic, and it's fun. And there's a lot of funny mistakes and things that happen on purpose, obviously, but it's very believable. It's fun. It takes the seriousness out of it, which I think is so important. There's a lot of everyone's just trying to be like this ultra cool version of whatever it is, and they're trying to be like, stick their nose up at people and whatever. And I think to see something like this, a performance like that, with a lot of like jokes and levity in the performance, it's just really refreshing. I really, really enjoyed it. So moving on. Teddy Swims. You can only play me as some of the performance, but I get the idea. So Teddy Swims, man, he's got a unbelievable voice. He performed Lose Control at the Grammys. I only heard a little bit of it. And, cool looking dude, great outfit, sunglasses, he's got face tattoos and all this stuff, but he sounds fantastic. It's great to hear a lot of those very, like a raspy, soulful voice. All these performances on the Grammys, they have the same glossy look and feel to them. And I think that's part of the production of just the Grammys. Like it's really hard to create, a different feel or a different aesthetic when you're performing on the Grammys when it's just one production. So I think they did a really good job. Another song here, another performance where they break things down, strip away a lot of the production. And he reminds me a lot of Alan Stone. So a similar type of voice. Alan Stone is a little bit more aggressive with his vibrato and a lot of his runs that he does. And I love Alan Stone. He's fantastic, but his voice kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Alan Stone is fantastic. If you haven't listened to him, check him out. But yeah, Teddy Swims, great singer. I don't get a chance, the Grammys is one chance that I get to actually listen to a lot of these artists. And it's also a way that I discover a lot of these artists that are, in the pop world and kind of try to figure out what people are talking about. But so far, all these performances, with the exception of, I don't want to give her a hard time. Like Anita is cool. It was fine, but it was just like kind of like everything else. It wasn't different enough for me to like be like blown away by anything. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying a lot of these performances, and part of the challenge when hearing a lot of these things, and what Sabrina Carpenter kind of did was use that aesthetic that glossed over, perfect production thing of the Grammys, that shininess of the Grammys, and took that and kind of went with it with the production. So it worked with her performance, and the juxtaposition between that and the perfection and the jokes and the levity and like the kind of intentional mistakes was very cool. So moving on, Cynthia Erivo does Fly Me to the Moon as a tribute to the late great Quincy Jones, featuring Herbie Hancock in there. If you don't know who that is, then you're living under a rock, and you should know. Herbie Hancock, one of the greatest jazz musicians ever, got his start performing as the pianist in Miles Davis's band. That was his big start, where Miles Davis famously told him to not play the butter notes, and Herbie had to interpret what that meant. And there's a lot of funny interviews of him talking about that. But Cynthia Erivo here performing Fly Me to the Moon. She sounded wonderful, fantastic, great actress and performer here. A little disappointed that Will Smith is still being invited to present things and be involved in any of these things. It just goes to show you that you can assault someone on a stage and just keep on going, and it'd be fine. It's pretty hypocritical. So anyway, with that being said, it was great. I have nothing else to say about it. We're going to move on to Grammys 2025, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, California Dreamin'. Okay. Yeah. this performance here, I don't know, man. I try my best, and this is a very unpopular opinion. I try my best to give Lady Gaga so many chances. Um, I just really don't like her. I think what it is, I'm not saying she's not talented or she's not great at what she does, but it's a little much. It's a little too much. It's almost, it's annoying to me the way that she presents herself and her performances. It's just like, geez, give me a break. That's how I feel every time I see her perform. And then, these performances, they're performing the mamas and the papas, but they are dressed up as if they're in the 60s or 70s. You're not adding anything new to this thing, and you're acting. It's obvious that you're acting. And when it becomes obvious that you're putting something on and that you're acting and you're not being authentic, then it's bullshit. That's how I feel about it. And I feel that way with every single performance she does, because I think it's so little about the message and the music, and it's actually all about her. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of people. I find her incredibly narcissistic. And it's just not an attractive quality. So, if you're a huge Lady Gaga fan, please let me know where I'm wrong, or let me know what I need to check out or what interviews I need to listen to not make me feel that she is just completely self-involved and annoying as shit. Anyway, I'm reading comments on this video, and it's just like, Lady Gaga is so herself, such a powerhouse with so much talent and emotion. Yeah, tons of talent, but it's fake emotion. It's just like she's acting. It's just it's crazy that people can't see through that. Anyway, I want to skip ahead because it's actually pretty tough to find a lot of these performances. I don't know if it's copyright or whatever. Maybe there just wasn't as many. Oh, is Shakira? Shakira's back. She's looking real good. Pretty cool performance. Bunch of belly dancing. Pretty chaotic. Lots of lights. Lots of flashy stuff. It's pop dance music. It's all that stuff. So it looked good. Sounded good. I mean, what do you say? Shakira's been around forever. You know what to expect, and it was a great performance. Where are all the performances? Chapel Roan won a bunch of stuff. That's cool. Beyonce won Album of the Year, which I think is the first time for that. Lead singer and drummer from Dawes, who are brothers Sheryl Crow, John Legend, Brad Paisley, Britton Howard, and St. Vincent. They performed I Love L.A. at the 2025 Grammy Awards, which honored the Los Angeles community and the first responders for the wildfires that ravaged the area. Pretty terrible. If you have read my newsletter, you know that Stevie Aiello, who is a guest on the podcast, who is the musical director, guitarist in 30 Seconds to Mars, lost his home in the fires. It's pretty devastating and awful. His wife I went to high school with, and they're both fantastic, great friends of mine, and it's terrible to see that when what happened. And they did this performance. It's just it's wild. I don't know. I'm sure everyone in this performance was affected, but I know that the lead singer of Dawes lost his house or lost his studio, and I know that his brother, the drummer, lost his house, and they lost a ton of instruments, like 20 years of whatever, like this expensive shit. And not just expensive. That has nothing. I mean, that's besides the point. It's you develop a connection with your instruments and these things that you get, and you have a relationship with them, and they become part of your family. You don't want to see anything happen to them. They get dinged, or you use them, you travel around the world with them, they become your friends, and they lost all that, and it's very, very sad, and it's devastating and brutal. And it's cool that they did this performance. They performed the song. They all did a great job. Who knows how long they had to get this together, and to have lost that and get on stage and support this thing, create the awareness that it's like, so many different people lost everything, and it continues to be an issue. Not everyone can be like, oh, well, people get the idea that, oh, it was only rich people that lost their homes, and that, oh, they could probably just go to their other house and they'll be fine and whatever. But no, that's not the case. There's entire communities that have been wiped out, and they're still trying to figure out where they're going to go. They're in hotels that are jacking up prices. They're trying to rent apartments where the landlords are taking advantage and charging them outlandish rent. And there's not much support. So, I'll just say, if you have anybody that's affected by it, help them out. Reach out, see if there's anything, directly that you can, direct ways that you can support them. I find it very hard to trust blanket relief funds or whatever, where you don't really know where the money's going or who's taking it. They whatever. That's how I feel about that. But if you know somebody directly that you can help them, or at least know exactly where it's going. I try to keep all this stuff positive about music, but you go down the comments of some of these videos and the things that they say. I know it's a vast minority. There's 400 million people that live in this country, and I'm reading one comment, so I'm sure it's a very small representation. It is a very small representation of the way that people feel. But someone posted here, someone using the misery and incompetence of LA to profit and boost their singing career. Slow clap. These people are absolutely disgusting, and it's a problem that people comment on things that they have no idea or don't know anything about, and they completely separate how they feel about a person publicly and to who they are privately and in the real world. And they think that they can just say these things and there's no ramifications or backlash from the things that they say or the comments that they make. The uneducated comments that they make and the uneducated things that they say. Everyone thinks that there's some kind of expert on whatever, when they're just sitting around doing nothing, watching videos, and just commenting the meanest, most horrible bullshit that you can even imagine. And it happens all over the internet, and it's disgusting. It's really gross. And I think it's one of the worst things for our society. So for people to go out here, and I know this is about the Grammys and it's fun, whatever. We're just talking, but for people to go out and say shit like that is just completely maddening, and just is the worst part of our society as a whole. I'll leave it there. So before we get to the Super Bowl performance, which I know everybody is waiting for, another thing that I just want to talk about very quickly before we get to the Super Bowl halftime show is Babyface at the 2025 Grammys. And I think it's a perfect representation of what people really care about at these things. Babyface is a complete music legend. And he was talking to the Associated Press, the AP, these two young reporters about something. I don't even know what the question is because it's always cut off before that, and it was a live stream. So they were asking Babyface a question, and he was taking a moment to thoughtfully answer their question while they started being distracted by something that was behind them and behind Babyface, and like one of them just wasn't paying attention, being incredibly rude to a complete music legend, and they decided, hey, the new hot thing, Chappell Roan, is behind him. So they cut him off mid-sentence, took away his microphone, and he was incredibly gracious. I mean, Babyface is a very gracious person, and later on, the paparazzi talked to him, asked him how he felt about it. He's like, it's fine, I don't care. Because he's 60 years old, he's 60, he's been around for a long time, and understands that, okay, they want to talk to the young, new, hot thing, whatever. But that's why they have handlers that hold the other person to the side and say, you're going to do this interview and you're going to walk up as soon as this one is done. They cut him off mid-sentence as he was like answering their question, took away the mic and said, oh, you mind just, and then Chappell Roan comes in and talks about whatever the fuck. So it's just it just goes to show you that these people have no spine, they have no moral backbone, they don't care about people, they don't understand. They probably didn't even know who they were talking to be completely honest. So I'd like to see actual manners, a little bit of substance, and a little bit of quality control when it comes to the people that we choose to talk to, artists, and ask them questions, and a little bit more substance based. So it's not just complete surface level and frankly careless and stupid. Okay. Super Bowl 25, Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. A lot of controversy around it, which I understand. I want to say that I understand the controversy around it, and that I think there is a little bit of a happy ground medium here. So I watched it live, and I thought, for me, I like Kendrick Lamar. I like his style. I like the way he raps. I don't know a lot of his new stuff. I didn't know the song that he was doing, and I also didn't know the background of the song and why he was doing it. I know that him and Drake had this huge beef or whatever, and like the West Coast, East Coast rap battles of the past, a lot of those things were done as publicity stunts. Yeah, I know people were killed, when it comes to Biggie Smalls and Tupac. There's a lot of mystery surrounding that, and I don't think violence or any of that stuff has any place in our entertainment or what our kids listen to. But as far as the entertainment value of this Super Bowl, I thought it was really good. I thought the dancers were cool. Whatever you feel about politics, at the moment, it's all extremely polarizing. You're going to have half the people hating it, half the people loving it and thinking it's amazing. But what I really noticed is that the players and the generation of people that are the same age group as the players and whatever, and the players themselves, loved it. Absolutely couldn't get enough. You see videos of people in the stadium, and it was crazy. It was like people were super into it, which says something. So I thought, okay, it's a little bit, in the moment when I was watching, I was like, I don't know if this is going to have appeal to the wide variety of NFL football fans. You know what I mean? So you're going to have a group over here, pretty much all the young people. Like, I remember when I was a football fan when I was young, when all the players were so much older than me, but now they're all way younger. And I don't understand a lot of the culture. I do more than most because I'm a musician and I'm in that world, and I pay attention to it. But pretty much all the other stuff, like, I've left by the wayside. So if somebody came out like, mumble rapping or playing trap music or something at the Super Bowl for the halftime show, I'd be like, what is going on? Why are they doing this? But Kendrick Lamar, I think, is on the younger. He's not a young dude by any means. He's older than me, but he appeals to a younger audience, and I think we need to remember that when we're watching the Super Bowl. That hey, there's gonna come a time when I'm old and I don't know who the hell the person is performing at the Super Bowl. But what I think they could have done a better job, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have not had Kendrick Lamar do the Super Bowl. I think it was cool. I think that the performance was good. The dancing was good. The camera work was really, really good. I really like how they did that, because a lot of times it's this big open production with a wide angle camera, and you don't get the real feel of what the artist and what the show is trying to get across. And I think they did a good job with that. And interestingly enough, I forget which Super Bowl halftime show it was. The Weeknd was performing, and it started off, and it was a super close thing, and it was more of a Grammy-esque production when the camera was close up. They were in a room, there was dancers, and it made it look cool. And then it opened up to the football field and stuff. That part of it was interesting and new, and whatever. But I know I get so many. Whoever I talk to, it's just like I talk to somebody and it's young. They're young and they understand what was going on behind that song and the songs with Drake, and they had Serena Williams out there basically dissing Drake because that was her ex. If I was Serena Williams' husband, I'd be like, "You're still thinking about this? What's going on here?" I think they're a little old to be dissing each other, especially on the national stage like that. It's a little bit, it's pretty edgy, I guess. It's kind of crazy that it happened. But I just think that for the National Football League, it expands demographics. So you have to appeal to a younger audience. You want to keep growing your audience. You don't want the younger fans to be like, that's lame. This was run by old people. But you also want to be entertaining for everybody that watches the game. So it's gotta be so difficult because we live in a world where everything is like a niche. Like you're either appealing to, ages 3 to 10 or whatever it is, ages 18 to 25, 25 to 40, or 40 to 60, or 60 to 75, 80. You have to appeal to these certain things to be viable in any kind of market. So when you're dealing with football, which is a game that expands, that goes through multiple generations, you're going to have some people that are pissed off about the entertainment value that is provided at the halftime show. But you got to understand, things are not going back to the way they were. You don't have Michael Jackson around. You're not going to have that thing. You don't have Prince. Prince's halftime show is arguably the best halftime show ever. But I'm sure there are people that didn't like it. I'm positive of it. Whitney Houston, greatest performance of the national anthem in history. I think it's been pretty well documented that was an amazing performance. I'm sure there's got to be someone out there who's like, it was fine. Someone that doesn't give a shit. But the thing is, with the Super Bowl halftime show, we all look forward to it, and we all are like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be like. It's a big thing, and to have a statement like that, which is a pretty negative thing, which is like, taking shots at another person. It's very personal, the way those songs and what kind of message he was trying to convey. And I'm not necessarily sure that should have been the message that goes out to a national audience. So I have mixed feelings about it. I thought performance-wise, production-wise, it was fun and awesome. but I don't think it had the wide enough appeal that the NFL needs to have for that audience on the Super Bowl. Everybody's watching it. You need to give everybody something, you know. But that's it. I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's a little bit of a non-answer. It's a little bit in the middle, or it's very in the middle. But you can't be polarized about all these things. I don't think. I mean, everybody can like something a little bit. You don't have to be ashamed of liking something or not liking something. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. So you gotta stick with the things that you believe, but be open-minded about what's going on here. You know. Anyway, that's the podcast. That's all I have to say. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, comes out Sundays, sign up for that, and that's free to do. And I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.